Now that that's all established, here come all of the acts or the new laws and taxes. So you began with the writs of assistance, contracts, all underneath the Navigation Acts. These said that the colonies now can trade only with Great Britain, and Great Britain only. No other trade can be done with any other country throughout the rest of the world. You had to send all your goods to traders in England who will then, and of course there are going to be fees with that. So that was good. And by the way, if you were found to do trade with anybody else, you will be punished with prison with no trial by jury. Now hold on just a minute. One of the great privileges of being English, of being a part of the British Empire, is that you, above all other people in all the world, have rights guaranteed in law called the English Bill of Rights. No one else in the world has that. That's why it's such a privilege and an honor to be a British citizen. But now if you conduct this one crime, you lose that right. Oh, this sends up some very alarming signals in the minds of the colonists. Are we not being treated as English citizens? Next then came the Sugar Act, 1764. It was a tax imposed on sugar, wine, coffee, pimentos, and silk, and on exports of lumber, iron, flour, cheese, and farm products. They were told, I'm sure you've never heard of this before, this is simply just a tax on the rich. Only the rich, the wealthy, the top 1% are going to be taxed here. These are those types of commodities that are going to be taxed. Well, suffice it to say, you might find this rather surprising, but history has shown us that any time a government has said the solution to one's problems is simply taxing the rich, guess who inevitably gets taxed? Everyone, in order to provide that which was promised through these taxes. This is why it is an American value that tax rates reflect freedom. The greater the taxes, the fewer liberties you have, because the government takes more of your money and decides what to do with it instead of you. Therefore, the lower the taxes, the greater your freedom. Not to mention, there's this little wrinkle in the thing. If we're going to tax only the wealthy, who gets to decide who is wealthy? The ones leveling the taxes. Isn't that convenient? Well, the Currency Act of 1764 followed. It said, all the taxes, by the way, we don't trust your colonial currency, therefore they must be paid in silver or gold. Now, how many of you poor farmers out there have some gold lying around with which to pay your taxes? There was the Quartering Act and the Stamp Act of 1765. The Stamp Act was a tax on, guess who? Everyone. It didn't take long, did it? It was a price you had to pay in order to have a new government-issued stamp placed on all papers, all your documents, your wills, your deeds, licenses, magazines, even newspapers, playing cards, so on and so forth. I actually have, for your viewing, it'll be out there on the table, some items that are from the Revolutionary era, including this dice right here. It's on the number 6, and there is a red stamp on it. This is an actual stamp from the Stamp Act. You all can see back there when we have it on display. If you failed to get the stamp, it was not officially recognized. So the deed to your family farm that has been in the family since Charles II for 5 generations, if it does not have the stamp on it, it is null and void, and therefore it is the government's to do with as they please. This was not popular. There was such an outcry that there was actually this event called the Stamp Act Congress. People came together and voiced for the first time ever a unified voice of opposition to this. And so the Parliament took notice of this and repealed the Stamp Act. Hoo, hurrah! Who thought that would happen? But Parliament wanted to make sure we all had an understanding. And so they passed the Declaratory Act of 1766, which said pretty much this: hello, we're Parliament, you're colonists. We will tax you anytime, anywhere, any place. Any way we want, and you will pay it. That's all it said. And they followed that with action. The Townshend Acts of 1767. Taxes on paper, glass, lead, paint, and taxes on paper, glass, lead, paint, and on, I can hardly bring myself to say it, tea. They taxed our tea. If there's one great lesson in history to learn, and only one, it's simply this: don't mess with the Brits' tea. If they had simply left this alone, we may be loyal British subjects today, drinking His Majesty's brew and enjoying it. But they taxed it. And that wasn't all. The Townshend Acts also include the Revenue Act, the Indemnity Act, the Commissioners of Customs Act, the New York Restraining Act, and the Vice Admiralty Court Act to force compliance with all the taxes. I think they needed some 87,000 new agents in order to enforce all this. This hit Boston Harbor very hard. As I know, shocking to you, the taxes greatly hurt their economy. It was the largest port in all the colonies, and it cost Boston a great number of jobs and a lot of hardship. Tensions built so much in Boston to the explosive events of March 5th, 1770, known as the Boston Massacre. I do not have time this morning to go into the amazing details of what took place there, only to share with you this: no one would represent the soldiers in court, except for one man who believed it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your beliefs are, no one should be deprived of their rights. And his name was John Adams. And he served as the defense lawyer for the soldiers and won the case. They were found not guilty.